Welcome to Breaking Vinyl. I'm your host, Des, aka Johnny Fever. And as
God.
always, I'm joined by my two co hosts. First up, the podcaster who likes the beat on the dark side, Dylan.
Hey, what's going on?
And last but not least, the podcaster playing the deep cuts, B-Side Dave. What's up, Dave?
What's up, everybody?
All right, tonight we will be discussing Mother Love Bone's Apple, produced by Bruce Calder, released on July 19th, 1990 on Mercury Records. The album peaked at the number 77 spot on the Billboard 200, but this wasn't until years after the release. The band's lineup was as follows: Andrew Wood on lead vocals and piano, Bruce Fairweather on lead guitar, Stone Gossard on rhythm guitar, Jeff Ament on bass, and the spectacular Greg Gilmore on drums. So for band facts, I got a couple here. They're obviously morbid. Andrew Wood died of a drug overdose on March 19th of 1990 at the young age of 24, and Apple would be released just 4 months later on July 19th of 1990. And Chris Cornell was very close to Andrew Wood at the time, and he was living a fairly straight and sober life. And when Andrew Wood got out of rehab, Chris Cornell tried to kind of mentor him and keep him on the straight and narrow, but obviously that didn't work. And Chris would say that it was like watching Andrew Wood squirm trying to stay sober. It was tough for him. So that's what I got. Dylan, what do you got for facts on this one?
All right. So Chris Cornell actually lived with Andrew. They were roommates at some point.
Yes.
So that's part of why they were so close. So the album was released July 19th. So we're just a little bit past the 33rd anniversary of it. And it's really kind of sad that
Yes.
Andrew didn't live to even see the release, let
Yeah.
alone hear how his music touched everyone that heard it beyond the Seattle music scene. Because, he kind of knew he was kind of like a big deal in the Seattle music scene at the time. But, it really, once grunge became more popular, people started picking up this album and it really touched a lot of people. And I think he would have really loved that. And I think it's tragic because he was just beginning to start to show what he could do and what he wanted to do,
Cool. Absolutely.
So despite the early loss of Andrew, his influence really had far-reaching fingers. And I mean, the loss might have even changed how the Seattle music scene worked, because it was a lot of grief for a lot of people that were very involved, and there was a lot of tribute songs, tribute bands. Temple of the Dog was a tribute band.
Right.
They did Say Hello to Heaven and Reach Down. Alice in Chains' Wood was written with him in mind. Faster Pussycat wrote Mr. Love Dog. That was about Andrew Wood. And Candlebox's Far Behind was also about Andrew Wood. So there was a lot of, that's a lot of big songs that, were about him that wouldn't have existed if he hadn't passed, which, we would rather have had him alive still. But also the movie Singles was partly inspired by Andrew. Cameron Crowe had originally written the movie Singles and based it in Arizona. And then Andrew passed and he saw the coverage of the community coming together and how it affected people. And he realized how tight knit this community was. So he moved the movie to Seattle and it changed the entire movie. And it's an amazing movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but
I've seen
it was,
it.
It was literally just a fantastic movie. And to me, this is kind of a cool bridge between the glammy rock that was happening at the time, that hair metal glammy rock, and into what grunge became. It was kind of in between the two. There's funk, there's rock, there's a little bit of whatever was in the water in Seattle at the time.
Yeah.
And they tapped into something new, which, there's a very solid foundation of guitar, there's tight drums, amazing lyrics. But his influences were more like Freddie Mercury, Mark Bolan, Elton John. That was the kind of stuff he was into. So I think that you really ended up with this cool amalgamation of things that might not have happened without him. So
it's funny hearing what you had to say. It really underlines how important this album was, but it was kind of overlooked because a lot of people never heard it.
Yeah.
Like Dave, I know you never heard it before, preparing for the podcast. So it kind of got overlooked a little bit because, the front man died before it was released. So that obviously takes some wind out of its sails. And it's funny, we're talking about, bridges between glam metal and grunge at the time. And for me, the bridge was really Alice in Chains. I mean, they looked like a hair metal band that, obviously was dressing, dirtier. Lane Stanley was he was kind of a hair metal guy before Alice in Chains. But that was my bridge from the hair metal scene to grunge. I mean, they had the long hair, they were playing the guitar solos. It was obviously a lot heavier. I still love Alice in Chains to this day, but yeah. So Dave, you never heard this album before preparing for the podcast, correct?
No, not all the way through, but as
Okay.
I listened to it, I had realized I definitely have heard some of it.
Okay. And what did you have for facts on this?
The only other thing I found was that a little bit later on in '92, they released a compilation of basically the original EP that came out before Apple and the songs from Apple. Um, just sort of as a tribute and to sort of expose the fans of who would Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and all that, to sort of give them that background.
Right, right.
I mean, because
Okay.
essentially this band is Pearl Jam with
Yeah.
a different singer. Yeah.
I prefer them. I definitely prefer them as Mother Love Bone. It's funny because back in the day, I really hated Eddie Vedder and I hated Pearl Jam. Like I just did. I just didn't like it. This was,
Same.
back in the 90s.
Yeah, we all
and
did.
yeah, but as I get older and I listen to more Pearl Jam and I see Eddie Vedder and, he's not the most amazing technical singer, but he definitely pulls off his albums live. And that's something for me that is just so important. Like, the disappointment in the 90s, early 90s, late 80s of seeing bands like Motley Crue and, these bands, I get their albums and I would love it. And then I go see them live and it would just be such a disappointment because the singer's just not singing the album. He's just, dancing basically. And that's frustrating when you're a fan. And, so I can really get behind a singer that can pull off his album. And Pearl Jam definitely is a very seasoned band. And again, wasn't my flavor back in the day, but I learned to love it. So let's give some opening thoughts on this album. This has been in my rotation since, basically the day it hit the shelf. I've been listening to Apple forever. I love it. The album, it's classic. It's filled with complex musical performances, deep, extremely authentic lyrics, and vocals delivered by Andrew Wood, which, we weren't getting lyrics like this back in the day. I mean, it's really good. And, spoiler alert, I fucking love this album. I just do. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, I liked it. I realized, like I said, as I listened to the album, I definitely heard Stardog before and Bone China and Gentle Groove, whether it was on the radio or riding in the car with friends or something like that. But yeah, it was cool getting to hear the whole thing.
Yeah, cool. And Delyn.
So I was a fan of it. So like Des, I had that moment where, it was the late 80s, early 90s, and grunge was becoming a thing. And I started to realize that this hair metal thing that I was into was dying. And it was like, we're kids and this has never happened to us before. So I was like, fuck grunge, it sucks. But, eventually you kind of come around because it is good music, and,
Yeah.
you had the bands that bridged the gap like Jane's Addiction did, because Jane's Addiction was weird and funky, but they were playing music that wasn't hair metal. So you had bands like that in the mix too, and Alice in Chains, which was a little metal, a little grunge. Like, so there was like a lot of things that started to kind of come up that would, okay, well, that's not bad. I kind of like that. And then you start getting into it. So I definitely don't think I heard the album until later. Like I probably heard it like after I listened to like Pearl Jam's 10. I was like, somebody was probably like, oh, well, Mother Love Bone, have you ever heard that? That used to be Pearl Jam. And I was like, no, I didn't. And somebody gave it to me and I listened to it and I loved it. Like Des said, the fantastic themes, great lyrics, really tight music. So like, what is there not to like? I do knock it a little bit as much as I like it. It's a little long in the tooth to me in places. Like you kind of get to this place where you're like, okay, I've heard this song a bunch of times. This feels like the same
bloated.
song. Yeah, like it's
bloated.
I said to Des yesterday after we had both listened to it again, and I said, I feel like you could cut like 4 songs off this album and it would be better.
Yeah.
But my other thought being, Andrew Wood's dead. I'm glad we got the songs we got because there aren't any more. Like that's it. So
I wish they had left this. I wish they had cut this album at 9 songs. And I'm going to get into it later. I don't want to jump the gun here, but there is a perfect 100-watt album in here. It's a 9-song album. Yeah. So it's bloated, and the second half of this album starts to lose speed.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into it. Let's just break this sucker down. Cause I mean, it's like 150 songs. So, all right. The first track on the album is This Is Shangri-La. And Delynn, what did you think of this track?
All right. So This Is Shangri-La. It's to me, perfect opener. It brings the energy. It brings the quintessential Mother Love Bone sound. You've got super clever lyrics. And the line, I look bad in shorts. Most of us do. I don't let that bother me. Like,
so good.
Okay,
so
I'm in.
Yeah. I was saying to Delynn, I look terrible in shorts. I got chicken legs.
But like to me, it's like, okay, he can also, there's humor here because like there's some dark subject matter in this album and a little bit of humor thrown in. You got me. So I really love this song, and to me, perfect way to open the album.
Yeah, it's really good. Dave, what'd you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was a good opener too. I never bothered listening to this band just because of the Pearl Jam association, and I hate Pearl Jam.
Right.
But I was surprised that this was pretty much just 80s kind of hair metal. I got sort of a I'm 18 Alice Cooper vibe off of the chord progression. The overall vibe, reminded me of, I got some of the Cult and some Throbs, some Babylon AD, just vibe off of that. A little funkier than most hair metal, but yeah, it was cool. I like that.
Yeah, a lot funkier than a lot of hair metal at the time. So this song, it opens with a swell of like little cymbal taps and some synth. And then it's like it's building and building and swelling. And then it finally kicks in like a ball of fire. And oh man, this is how you open an album. It's so good. Stone Gossard's rhythm guitars are fucking amazing on this whole album. Unfortunately, he never put down the wah-wah pedal. I mean, for the entire album, he just saturated his rhythm guitars with it. And it's kind of a knock and it's not a knock. So what happened was it made a lot of the songs start to sound the same. Cause these are great riffs, but when you just saturate it in wah pedal, it starts to feel like the same funky groove every time. So I wish that he had, picked his spots with the wah pedal and not just like gone balls in for the whole album. Yeah. And then, Bruce Fairweather's guitar solo is just so fucking good on this. But again, he is also going to go balls deep with the wah pedal. So when you got the two of them just abusing the wah pedal for the entire album,
dueling wah,
it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem. And I was saying to Delynn about this, so Slash uses the wah pedal to perfection on Appetite for Destruction. He brings it in, he takes it out, he uses it where it needs to be, and it's special. When you hear it, it's like, oh, it makes your ears perk up. You're like, that's so fucking good. But then he takes it away. And you start going, oh, I want to hear that again. You're not getting that here. You're just like, by the end, you're like, oh, fuck, I wish the 9-volt battery would die. The lyrics and the vocal performance from Andrew Wood on this song particularly sets the bar very high for the album. It's really, really good. Andrew Wood's not the most technical, greatest singer, but he has the range that I like. it's higher register than Eddie Vedder can put out. And, that's going to be obvious if you ever go and listen to some live stuff of Pearl Jam trying to do Chloe Dancer and Crown of Thorns. Vedder's just not getting there, and he's not pulling it off, in my opinion. Some people may love the version Pearl Jam does. I don't. And then this is going to be a recurring theme on this album. The fucking drum performance and the drum production on this album is fucking stunning. It's so good. And they push these drums up front, and it really drives this album. Kind of like what you're getting on like Shout at the Devil. They have a great drummer and they know it. And they're gonna use it to their advantage. And I'm glad that they did. So yeah, that's my my take on this opening tune, and kind of just preloading what I think of this album, because it's gonna kind of be that through the whole album. Second song is Stardog Champion, Dylan.
I mean, it's Stardog Champion. It's
fantastic.
Right, it is. I think this song taps into the underdog, right? The feeling of being the underdog.
Yep.
And rising above and becoming the Stardog Champion, super catchy, super melodic. There's that beautiful breakdown in the middle when the tempo slows down.
Oh yeah, so
but
good.
The feeling just keeps building, and it's building, and it's building, and I'm getting goosebumps, right? And the guitars get a little messy in the solo, but it feels like a stylistic choice to me. Like, it doesn't feel like that was lazy playing.
It's funny you say that, because as we know, we did Nothing Shocking, and we had said how Dave Navarro was playing his solos almost like a jam. Like, they didn't feel like they were plotted out or mapped out. Like, he was just cutting loose and getting a little sloppy.
Yeah.
And this song really sounds like it could have been on Nothing Shocking. Like, there's some big Jane's Addiction, Nothing Shocking feels specifically in this guitar solo. Big time. I actually wrote that down. The solo feels like Jane's Addiction, Nothing Shocking.
Yeah,
So.
like, it got a little sloppy, but I was like, it doesn't feel like lazy playing or bad playing. It just feels like that was like a stylistic choice. So I'm totally fine with it. And the only other thing is, I love when the tempo goes back up and then breaks back down again. Roller coaster ride, up and down, up and down. The children's voices at the end. It's a great song. It's a great song.
A lot of nice dynamics in this, but that's funny that you picked up on that solo thing, because I had written that. Dave, what did you think?
Yep. I wanted to say thank you. I forgot all about this song. I'm pretty sure. I heard this. I was like, oh my God, I haven't heard this in 30 years.
Right.
Used to listen to this radio station when I was a young rocker guy in New Jersey, called 89.5 WSOU.
Nice.
Actually came out of a Catholic university, Seton Hall. But they ran a heavy metal radio station.
So cool.
They used to play the hippest shit. Like, you'd hear like Salty Dog, and you'd hear, the Throbs and bands like that playing just on this radio station. I'm pretty sure I've heard this on that station back in the day when this came out. So that was cool. And then I had my note about the wah-wah pedal. This is where I picked up on it. One of the guitar players in this band likes his wah pedal almost as much as Kirk Hammett does.
They both did. Did.
Yeah. The layering, was cool. They put in some acoustic guitar there towards the middle and the end, and we mentioned the kid vocals and stuff in the middle. So that was nice little spice to the stew.
The Throbs, you've said it twice now, so underground.
Oh yeah,
underground.
So good. I mean, oh yeah, okay. I'll tell you another one I'd like to do would be I'd love to do that Hanoi Rocks album, man. It's so fucking good. There's so many good ones that we need to get to, right?
Oh yeah.
All right. So Dave, are you familiar with Hanoi?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So for
he
this
was
one,
in a band with Pink. Of course he did.
Okay. I knew he had to, but sometimes I'm surprised when I ask him. He says, "No, I haven't heard that one." So Stardog Champion. This one is built on those booming drums again. amazing lyrics coupled with like these perfect vocals. I love the children, like Delyn said. I did write the guitar solo, Super Jane's Addiction. Um, the song is filled with like some really, really beautiful melodic guitar riffs. Um, but again, I wish they hadn't overused that wah pedal. But yeah, there's just so much. I just love it. I just love it. Next song, Holy Roller. Delyn?
All right. So for this one, I'm not as much of a fan of it as you are. I know this is one of your favorites. I like the distorted guitar. I like the gospel rap section. I think it's a cool idea for a breakdown. And if you listen to the words, a lot of it kind of sounds like the words kind of sound like it's a little bit about abuses in the church or people being taken advantage of by organized religion. So it's kind of like an interesting thought to put into this album, like it's like, okay, that's a little from left field. I wasn't expecting that, but okay.
Right.
But yet not one of my favorites. I
Wow.
definitely, there's other songs on here I like a little bit more. It's a great song, but just not one of my favorites.
So, like with movies, you have no taste in music as well. Okay.
I got taste in music, kid.
Okay. Dave, what'd you think of Holy Roller?
Yeah, a lot going on in there. It was busy, funky music. I loved the arena rock chorus. Just
Oh,
just it's everybody singing along to that. Middle section dragged a little. I
Fuck
feel like
yeah,
they
it
could have
did.
cut that down. One thing you sort of mentioned earlier about the sort of trimming the album. I feel like they could, if they had a producer on this who had a little bit of a stronger hand, maybe to help them sort of mold it a little better, a little tighter and poppier. The album could have been improved, but
I
it was
agree.
good. Yep.
I agree. This is one of my favorite songs, not just on the album, but of all time. Like I can listen to Holy Roller. It's in my, again, I bring this one to a desert island with me. I love Holy Roller. Jeff Ament, Greg Gilmore, they're locked in. It's an amazing rhythm section here. It's really bringing it. It's holding down the bottom. The song is built on it. The chorus is just unbelievable. But my knock is I would cut that breakdown. It's unnecessary. This song is rocking, man. It's just, and then it breaks into that. And it's just like, oh, stop. It's like you're sailing, you're in the regatta, you're in the lead, and then all of a sudden the wind dies. And you're like, oh, my boat has stopped moving. What the fuck? It didn't work. I hated it. And it sucks because, again, it's one of my favorite songs. So, yeah, that's what I got on there. Bone China, track 4, Delyn.
Love Bone China. The soft opens beautiful, clear guitar, strong vocals from Andrew. The line, I'm just waiting on that dream because the fast ones always ride for free. Again,
good.
chills. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love this song. This might be one of my favorites on here. It's just, I think it's gorgeous. And I know you were of the opinion that it was one ballad too many, but I love it. I think it's beautiful and it fits the mood of this album and it belongs here.
Yeah, no, this wasn't one of the ones that I thought was,
okay.
no. Dave, what did you think of Bone China?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've heard this before, but the simplicity of the music, definitely helps highlight the lyrics, which
Yeah.
it seems like with this band, a little more thought is put into the lyrics than maybe some other bands. Got sort of the cult kind of vibe off of the music a
Yeah.
little bit. It was a good one.
So Dave, you had to have picked up on that acoustic guitar that was panned to one side. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Honey, just use the mute on your
I did.
screen. No,
I
on your
did.
screen.
Oh.
On your screen. You're not listening to me.
Okay. So we're bringing a
You're
little.
going thunk, thunk, thunk.
So we're bringing a little. Hey, did you see that movie into this? Okay. Yeah, the dynamics on this song are gentle, but they're effective. And again, the lyrics just so authentic. No cheese on this.
None.
Almost no cheese on the whole album. There is one song that's got some cheese on it that I do not like, but we'll get to it. The performance is very 70s on this. I fucking love this song. It's really good. And again, those clean acoustic guitars panned hard. Oh, just love it, man.
Good stuff.
Yeah, really good. Number 5, Come and Bite the Apple. Dylan.
Okay, so this one to me feels like a bridge, and it's bridging us from one side of the album with all these great songs to the second side, which I felt was not as strong, which has a lot of the songs that I would frankly cut if I was given the chance to. I love the chorus and the groove. There's a ton of funk on the track. I enjoy it, but it just feels like we're bridging because we're heading towards this place where it's not as good as it has been. So that's kind of the feel I get from this particular track.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of got the same feel, Dave.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, overall, and this kind of applies to the whole album, is that musically they go interesting places that are, not necessarily predictable, but not sounding, like, oh, we're just going to be weird, just to be weird. So they're kind of good at that, where it's just not the same old thing. But yeah, the middle section of this could definitely be shortened up. So
yeah, like you said, there's a lot that you could trim off this album that would actually make it better. Like I said, there is a 100-watt album in there somewhere. So
yeah, you just have to dig through to find it.
You got to dig through to find it. So on this one, we're going to get a subtle use of a flange on the rhythm guitar. Did you catch that, Dave?
I missed that one. Didn't write it down.
Okay. So there's a little flange on it. And it was funny because it like stood out so hard to me because I was like, oh, it's not the wah. They're using a flange. It was like, I was like, oh shit, I wish they had done this a little more. Very effective. And it's the little accents like that that kept this song from kind of being lumped into repetitive feel of some of the other songs. And again, Bruce's guitar solo, it's so good. It's so good on this one. So yeah, I mean, this song had a lot of things to like about it. Track 6, Stargazer, Dylan.
This is a beautiful song.
Oh yeah.
The beautiful acoustic guitars. They're painting the tone, and Wood is bringing the words, right? It's a love song. It's plain and simple, but there's so much flavor. And this is one of the songs particularly where the layer cake that is Mother Love Bone really shows up, like those layer guitars, the building crescendo to the chorus. It's really a beautiful song, and I love this one.
Yeah, me too. Dave?
Yeah, the song was okay for me. I liked the whole thing with the layering. The clean guitars are beautiful. Just so a couple different flavors of clean guitars even that they put together. Singers channeling a little Robert Plant there.
A little?
Yeah.
A little?
Well, being nice, but yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So this is Andrew Wood tipping his hat to Robert Plant, and that's being polite. This is Andrew Wood.
I want to be Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, he's doing a Robert Plant impersonation here, and the band is as well. I mean, these, like you said, these acoustic guitars and clean guitars they're putting in, I mean, these are off a Led Zeppelin album. These vocals, they are Robert Plant. I mean, this is a tip of the hat to Led Zeppelin. This is a Led Zeppelin tribute, in my opinion. I don't even think they're trying to hide it. I think they were probably all laughing in the studio going, yeah, let's just do it. Let's just do a little Greta Van, whatever that band is called that's out right now. That's basically, what is it? Greta Van Pelt. They like, what? No. Did I miss the mark on that?
It's not Van Pelt, I can tell you that much.
What is it? Google it.
I don't know.
Okay. I love
Greta Van Fleet.
Greta Van Fleet. Okay, what a fleet of pelts, same thing.
A fleet of pelts.
As Seamus jerks his steering wheel into another telephone pole. Okay. So And I love the slinky guitar tracks on this one. Just beautiful guitar licks that he's playing. And it's funny because there's one lick in particular that he's playing on this that I learned, not from this album. I just learned it because I love to learn 70s guitar licks and I use it. I overuse it. It's bad. I use this lick on like every single song that I record and play. And I instantly heard, I was like, all right, man, that's a good lick. Um, and again, the chorus, basically almost all the choruses on this album are very good. They knew how to write a chorus, so and this one was no different. So yeah, I love this song. Um, Track number 7, Heartshine, Delin.
All right. So here is where we get into ones that I'm starting to feel aren't quite as strong.
Yeah, the wheels start coming off the wagon.
Yeah, a little bit. So this one feels like it would actually work really well live, but I don't feel like it's so great on the album. Like it feels like this is one of those things that maybe they could have just left to playing live or put it on an EP or something. There's nothing wrong with the song per se. It's just a little flat to me, especially in the middle of all the gems, you know?
Yep. Dave, what did you think of Heartshine?
Yeah, drum intro was cool. The that lead in, great dynamics on the song, but it's too long.
Yeah, this song felt underdeveloped to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like felt like it could have been a good song, but like we did this, we heard this over a couple albums where you'll hear a song that like we discussed one on the Top Gun soundtrack. I don't remember which track it was, but it was like, they needed to write it more. So that's what this one felt like to me. It was underdeveloped, still had a strong groove, and it had a respectable chorus, right? I mean, wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's just when you're looking at it next to Stardog Champion, it's like,
yeah,
they can't all be hits, kid, you know?
Yeah, this one felt kind of like a loose jam. Like they were just like, all right, let's just jam for 6 minutes and record it, see what we get. There's a lot going on though. If you listen closely, specifically between the two guitar players, there's a lot of intricate stuff going on. So it's a fun song to listen to with headphones on, but it didn't need to be there. Okay, coming on to another track that didn't need to be there, Captain High Top, Delin.
Yeah, I have a hard time with this one. And I feel bad because I know Andrew Wood used to wear high tops, so it's kind of like a song about himself, but
I didn't like his sneakers either.
I literally didn't remember this song, and I've listened to this album on more than one occasion. It was one of those ones that was in pretty heavy rotation, but I'm guessing that like if I had this on a disc or a CD, I was skipping this song because I literally didn't remember it when it came up. So that's telling me a lot considering I remember the rest of the entire album. It falls prey to the rest of the monster songs that are around it, much like Heartshine does. So for me, it's kind of like this lull in this album. The guitar sounds very much like what we've been doing through the entire album. There's not a ton of tasty riffs or clever lyrics here, so I kind of just was getting bored a little bit here, which I hate to say, but I was.
Yeah. Dave, Captain High Top.
Yeah, kind of the same. Solid rock song, but I can say there was some interesting chord changes behind the solo. So they threw in some jazzy chords there, so that was at least something different.
Yeah. I mean, musically, they never ran out of ideas as far as licks go, guitar licks. This is what you got when you got a great rhythm guitar player playing with a great lead guitar player that have just unbelievably deep bags of riffs, and they used them all. Yeah, so I'm not crazy about. So this is my main problem with this song, right? So this is where Andrew Wood actually delivers some cheesy late '80s lyrics. They're terrible. Like he's inseminating, and it's just like, dude, shut up. I didn't like it. I hated this song. I wish they had cut it off the album. I do like the melody that he's using, but I don't know, man. This is where the album really starts running out of gas. It's just like the car's like sputtering and jerking and yeah. Okay. That's what I got on Mr. High Top.
Yeah.
Or Captain High Top. Track 9, Man of Golden Words, Delin.
So this one, even though, like I was saying, I'm starting to feel like the songs are a little samey, at least they brought this edition of the piano in, and it raises the album back up from the slip that it was on, you know? The song might not have worked so well on stage, but it's really gorgeous on this album. There's nice production here, and splitting Andrew's voice into harmonies and echoes, I really
Hmm.
liked. There's some more religious imagery in here with the King of Kings. It actually, like I was saying
Tons.
earlier before, it's traveling through Wood's lyrics, um, not a fascination, but using these religious imagery almost because of the poetic usage of words in
Yeah,
religion. So I appreciate it for what it is. It's a nice song.
it is. Dave?
Yep, quiet, moody, introspective. The lyric in there, the Temple of the Dog, is,
Yeah.
of course, you guys know that what gave the name to the side project with the guys from the band and Chris Cornell when
Mhm.
they did sort of like the couple tribute songs for him and for
Mhm.
Andy after he passed.
Yeah. This, I was thinking about what I had said about the Junkyard album, how I wanted to go back and kind of rescore it because I thought maybe I'd went a little high. But then I was thinking again, and I'm like, you know what? I didn't go high. And I'm going to tell you why. So some albums hold a lot of weight with very respected musicians. This is one of them. You know, Delin named off all the bands that were moved and influenced and wrote songs about. Like, this is a musician's album. Like, big bands that were bigger than this band love this fucking album. There's a reason why. And that's the same with Junkyard. So you've got this album again, like I said, sure, none of the players on it were the best players. I mean, they were all limited. Um, and I want to say this, like, this isn't a diss on the band because they were all great. I mean, as we know, Patrick Mazingo, fucking amazing drummer, and his drums are produced amazing. But they were a rock band from Texas. They were a rock band. So no virtuoso playing. Um, but why is Axl Rose, the biggest singer in the world, wearing their shirt on stage? Because the fucking album is great. Every single song is great. There's not one I would cut. So I'm gonna my statement and say that I think that I was fair on that score. And this album, same thing. It holds weight with musicians. So I'm gonna mark it for that at the end. Man of Golden Words. I enjoyed Andrew Wood's honest vocals on this. The lyrics and specifically the bridge in the song, I thought was very, very, very good. Um, but it's funny because the hook on this song, like the actual hook that keeps me coming back and listening to this song, is the piano. It's funny because it's not a hook per se. Like, it's not written to be a hook, the piano chord progression, but it just is. For some reason, I listen to this song, and when it ends, I'm like, I'd like to hear that piano again. So that's what keeps me coming back to this one. And like Delin said, it's just poetic. It's so grown up. It's just a great song. I really liked it a lot. Yeah, so that's what I got on that, along with a few other things.
Let
Track
it never
10.
be said that you are at a loss for words.
I never am. Remind Des to shut
Shut
up.
up.
Okay, that's that's a little night shift reference for anybody that didn't get it. Uh Track 10, Capricorn Sister. Delin?
So this one, I love the groove. I like the effect they use on his voice. And I really like the bass on this one. It comes forward in
Mm,
the song to me. Like, it was one of the things I was hearing the most. And
yeah.
I don't know if that was a trick of the production or if it was just that good, but it forced me to listen to the bass instead of it disappearing into the mix.
Right?
Um, I,
Okay.
yeah, I love the shout out to Freddie Mercury, especially since he was an influence on Andrew. And it's nice to call back to your heroes. So yeah, I mean, this is not one of the jewels in the crown, but it's a piece of gold still.
Yeah. Dave?
I got a big Jane's Addiction vibe off the very very top of this song. Just
Yeah.
wait, what am I listening to?
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, the album is mixed well, and that was something I noticed especially here, that you can hear all the instruments, the drums, bass, both guitars, all kind of doing their own thing, all separated nicely. The guitars are doing a nice trade off, sort of like that Rolling Stones weaving guitars, back and
Oh yeah.
forth. That was something I noticed in there. Lyrics didn't make much sense on this one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I actually wrote that too. I thought the lyrics were fun, but I only thought they were fun because they were so weird. Like you said, like I was like, what's he talking about? That's like what? I was like, okay. Like it almost sounded like he was almost cracking on himself a little bit, you know? Um, I enjoyed the production on the lead vocal though. They were goofing around with some different effects and stuff. So it made it interesting. And I thought it was a very smart choice incorporating the band name into the song because without it, I don't think the song hits as hard, right? Like take out Mother Love Bone. Mother Love Bone. You take that out, the song isn't as good. So
Yeah.
it almost like it almost made it a must stay on the album. You know what I mean? Just for that one reason alone.
In the pre-internet days, it was he knew all about branding and putting his name out there,
Absolutely. I mean, you could have called the song Mother Love Bone. It would have been fine with me. So track 11. Oh, fuck. I hate this fucking song. Gentle Groove. Oh, I fucking hate this song. Jesus Christ. Dylan, go ahead.
All right. So I just have written that the title makes a promise and the song delivers. It gives you a gentle groove. Like it's giving you that. It's smooth and it's funky. Nice piano, nice guitar, working together, moves the song forward while keeping the overall feel of the track soft. Does it belong on the album? Again, this is one you could probably cut, but it's not a bad song. It's just, it does exactly what it says it's going to do. It's just gentle.
Right. These guys can't write a bad song. When I'm like saying, I hate this song, I mean, I'm just saying I hate this song on this album. I mean, if Dave wrote this song and sent it to me in an email and was like, hey, what do you think? I'd be like, wow, that's really good. So, Dave, what'd you think of Gentle Groove?
Yeah. I've heard this one before, but oh no. First lyrics out of the gate: cardinal sin, rhyming fire and desire. Songwriting,
okay.
please. Songwriting, please. They're coming to take you away, Andrew Wood.
Yes. Dave, awesome observation because he does it all over this song and it sucks. It sounds cheap on this album. It doesn't work. I hate this song.
Yeah, I mean,
now, you know what? If you sent me this in an email, I'd probably be like, dude, what are you doing rhyming words? You're better than this.
What the fuck? But yeah, the bass guitar was featured very well. And the hypnotic riff under the chorus amps up the tension, doing
Right.
keyboard and the guitars.
Yeah. So I wanted to say on Capricorn Sister. So Dylan, you had talked about the bass, how they finally, produced it
To
up
me.
so you could hear it.
Yeah,
What
to
is
me.
it?
I mean, like it's possible
Yeah.
that the bass was there before, but for some reason
No.
in that song specifically, it was like a punch of bass. And I was
No,
like,
you're
oh,
right.
okay.
You're right. I'm completely agreeing with you. It's funny
Okay.
because he is such a great bass player. Like if you listen to Pearl Jam, holy fuck, they build
Yeah, he's
songs
really
around this
good.
guy. They build
Yeah.
songs around this guy. He plays his fucking ass off. For whatever reason on Apple, his bass is like it doesn't exist. Like you have to struggle to hear him. And even when you hear him, he's not playing like he does in Pearl Jam. So I don't know what happened on this album. And I'm not saying like his playing is bad on this. Of course it's not. It's fucking the guy's an amazing bass player. But when you hear how they push these drums up front and how great this drumming is, I know that he's playing great bass lines behind it. But for some reason, they did not turn the volume or push the volume slider up with the drums. I don't know why. So yeah, nice observation on that. I don't know. I don't even want to talk about Gentle Groove. Just it sucks. Song fucking blows. I had a bunch of shit written. I'm not even gonna fucking.
Oh my God.
Okay, track 12, Mr. Danny Boy. Dylan, what do you think of Mr. Danny Boy?
So I love the funk on here. Again, we get more great bass. So towards the end, they started letting them play, I guess.
Yeah.
But the album I'm writing here, the album starts to feel long in the tooth, but I felt that way back when.
Me too.
By this song, feel like I'm waiting for Chloe Dance a Crown of Thorns. Like I'm like, okay, like you gotta cut some of the songs off this album. You gotta
Yeah.
to make it a better album altogether. Again, where he's passed, I'm so glad we got these songs because we might not have gotten them if they hadn't put them on the album or maybe an EP or something. But
That's what I wish happened. A 5-song EP like later.
yeah, but as a work, and if forgetting that Andrew Wood passed away and we lost him as a work, yeah, you needed to severely edit this album. If Andrew Wood was still alive today, I would say he could have cut 4 songs off the album, no problem. The album would have been better for it. But again, since we did lose him and this is all we got, I'm glad we got the songs that we did. But yeah, that's kind of that's really all I have to say about the song, unfortunately.
Dave?
There was nice effects on guitar and bass, atmospheric, and song kicked in nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for this one, the storytelling on it is the charm. All right. So it's like a tough song. You know, I from what I got from listening to it, it's written about some like dude that like kicks ass. So I was getting that like, you know, it's bad Leroy Brown, the baddest man in the whole damn town. You know, like it was kind of like that was the story I was getting, you know. It doesn't have a strong chorus. But I do love it for the attitude, and I don't know. The sections all work really well together. Like it almost feels like a hit, but it's not. And this would not be on the perfect 9-song version of Apple for me. It would be one cutout. And guys, we made it to the end. Now, I understand that Chloe Dancer is not on the original version of Apple, but they did re-release it with Chloe Dancer as part of Crown of Thorns. So we're going to review it as if it was there. And I'm going to tell you why. Because we fucking have to. So that's it. Lynn, go.
Yeah, you have to, because quite frankly, Chloe Dancer Crown of Thorns is how it ended up on the single soundtrack. Chloe Dancer Crown of Thorns is how they play it when you go to see Pearl Jam. It is that song. Like Crown of Thorns is incomplete without Chloe Dancer. That's why I say, if you're going to review it, you have to review it that way, even though technically it's not on the album. I don't care.
Yeah, technically, I don't care. Yeah.
Technically, I don't care. So I'm not going to frontier at all. This song is the jewel of the entire Crown. It's gorgeous. It's the first song I think of when anybody ever says Mother Love Bone or Andrew Wood. This is what I think of immediately. Like you said, Chloe Dancer is not on the original release. It was included in the re-release. It's on the single soundtrack. And it's beautiful. It's sad. It's a power ballad with all the power given to the sadness instead of to love. And the death of a relationship. It's the end of something beautiful. And it melds perfectly into Crown of Thorns. Melodic, moody, taking you on a journey from start to finish that evokes emotion every time the beat changes. The drums are syncopated, and though the guitars are present, the music is just set dressing for Andrew's story. And the song tells of how drugs can ruin a relationship, and but there's still somehow beauty in there. The little jam in the middle sets you up for the chorus to come back with a bang. I never get through the song without a few tears, and I think that says a lot about how moving of a song it is.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Dave.
Yeah, I agree. The Chloe Dancer part is very, very emotional, and I would have wanted them to keep, at least that piano intro part, even if they wanted to get rid of some of that in the middle, but, make some kind of sandwich with that. But the whole thing is cool. I'm hearing a lot of, good drumming on there. He's playing those ghost notes on the snare. And you can sort of hear hints of the kind of music that Pearl Jam would make later. Not to me that's a good thing, but
right.
It is a good song, and it's good, sort of story and emotional. And I did like that.
Yeah. I mean, God, what can I say? I gush over this song. I love the lyrics. I love the vocals. I love the arrangement. I love the music. It's just beautiful. I mean, it resonates with me on every single level, every level. I can't listen to this song and even hear the song. I'm just thinking about because, maybe if Andrew Wood didn't die and stuff, it wouldn't hit so hard. But I mean, there's stories of his girlfriend at the time sitting by his bedside because he didn't die immediately. You know, he was in the hospital for a little while, and she would listen to music with him and hold his hand. And, oh, oh, getting broken up right now. Whew, tears in my eyes, I guess. So yeah, I can't listen to this song without literally bawling like a baby. I fucking love this song, and I can only listen to it once in a while because even just talking about it, I'm welling up right now. So let's move on. Okay, so
It takes you on a ride, kid.
it does. It takes you on a ride. So all right, favorite song. My favorite song on this. I love Holy Roller, but you know what? I'm going to have to just go with Chloe Dancer, Crown of Thorns, because I didn't well up when I was talking about Holy Roller. So there you go. And if I was going to cut one, it would be Gentle Groove. That song is a piece of shit. Dave, what was your favorite track and which one would you cut?
Favorite track was Stardog Champion. Strong single. I like it.
Yep.
The one I would cut would be Mr. Danny Boy. There's not really, we kind of talked about it. There's not really any bad songs on the album. It just didn't grab me as much as some of the other ones.
Yeah, sure. Fair enough. And Dylan?
Favorite song is it's Chloe Dancer, Crown of Thorns. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah,
but Bone China is a strong second. And I'd take Captain High Top off. I don't like it.
Over Gentle Groove or...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough.
Again, literally,
okay.
I would listen to this entire album and did not remember that song at all. And I've listened to it a million times. So for me to have no memory of that song, I was like, what is this? I don't remember the song at all. So yeah, not good.
Okay, if you had to replace one member of the band, who would it be and who would you replace him with? For me, I like to reimagine this album with Robert Plant doing the entire thing. A young, hungry, moody, drugged out, giant bulge in his jeans.
Oh, stop!
Dove in his right hand about to fly away. Robert Plant. That's what I want to see with a leather belt and yeah, just go Robert Plant. Let's hear it. Dylan, what do you got?
Oh God, I don't know. I got to be honest with you. I didn't prepare for this part of the thing because I don't know enough about. I just don't know enough about the musicians that are kind of like appropriate to go into this album. Like, do you replace Stone Gossard? No. Do you replace that drummer? No.
Would you like to hear me on lead guitar?
What, so you can play that 170s riff over and over again?
Nicely played, touche. Okay, I'll let you off the hook. Dave, how about a little Elton John or a little Freddie Mercury? See you hear either of them on this?
I mean, you could throw Mark Bolan in there too in the mix, but yeah,
sure.
I don't know.
For the record, I'm not a huge Elton John fan, but I just thought I'd throw it in. How about this? You could take Andrew Wood off as guitar, as the piano player, and put Elton John in on piano.
There you go. Okay, we'll take it.
Okay, and Dave, what do you got?
I thought we might take out one of the guitar players. You could add in somebody like Izzy Stradlin, who would help with some songwriting and tightening up and throwing some extra hooks in there. And that could really, amp it up a little bit.
Dude, Izzy Stradlin, probably one of my top 10. Yeah, probably one of my top 10 favorite musicians, rock stars, and songwriters of all time. Like, you can watch some YouTube videos of him just sitting in his kitchen, like singing songs and playing acoustic guitar. And I literally just sit there like I'm watching a circus and I'm 5. I'm like, go Izzy Stradlin, you fucking...
Yeah, he's amazing.
Izzy Stradlin. Have you listened to some of his solo album and seen like the videos? Oh, so fucking good. So fucking good. He was too good for Guns N' Roses. I'm going to go on record. The guy was fucking amazing.
I don't think Guns N' Roses would have been what they became without him.
That's why I'm saying he was too good for Guns N' Roses, because the guy fucking like brought the fire to Appetite for Destruction, and then they kind of like, I'm not going to say they did him dirty, but they didn't treat him like a rock star.
They did him dirty. They did.
Yeah,
they did. Axl Rose did them all dirty.
He did. I mean, and Izzy Stradlin fucking hand delivered them that album. He was like, listen, I'm the best. Here you
His
go.
fingerprints are all over that thing. So for
Yeah.
anyone to pretend that it wasn't, his input that made that album take it up a notch and make it as good as it. I mean, Axl Rose was playing with Tracy Guns, and I love Tracy Guns. Don't get me wrong, but he's not Izzy Stradlin.
No,
So-
no one's Izzy Stradlin. No one's Izzy Stradlin. Izzy Stradlin could literally write the next Rolling Stones album with the Stones, and they'd be like, "Oh, please give us more of your amazing input." Like that's how
They're
fucking
back.
good he is. Yeah, they're back.
Oh
Awesome.
God.
Yeah, just so good. So Dave, you got to check this out, and listeners, you got to check this out. So as you know, drummer Steven Adler has a band that does Guns N' Roses, and I was watching a couple of live videos from just maybe last year or a few months back.
Yeah, and he's like
Dave-
literally at an outdoor festival. It's not like even like they've got this amazing setup or anything.
Dude, they have a singer, Dylan, tell them. They have a singer that sounds more like Axl Rose on Appetite than Axl Rose sounded like on Appetite.
Yeah, that he just stole my line. That's what I said to him. I go, that guy sounds more like Axl Rose than Axl Rose does.
This guy is fucking nailing these vocals. Like you close your eyes, you're listening to the album. The guitar player, just everything. It's really, really good. So if you enjoy old Guns N' Roses, go ahead and check out Steven Adler's band and watch a couple of these videos. It's really good. And the singer just looks great, and he moves like Axl and kind of has that Axl vibe. And guitar player
Honestly,
looks really
it's
great.
just a good fun watch.
Yeah, the guitar player really is pulling off like he's his own person, long black hair, tattoos, Les Paul, playing these great licks. And then they got another guy that kind of giving off like a chunky Izzy Stradlin vibe that I was really digging.
Chunky Izzy
So, okay, like a thick Izzy Stradlin. He's not fat by any means, but he's just, whatever.
No, but Izzy
Okay.
Stradlin is a toothpick.
Yeah, he's like the medium size. Okay, let's do some final thoughts and Watt scores on this. I'm gonna go last because I kind of want to sit back and see what you guys are thinking on this one. Dave, final thoughts and Watt score on Apple.
Okay. So I apologize if I steal anybody else's comments or anything.
Okay.
But so Andy Wood is grunge Jesus.
Yes.
His influence on everyone in that scene is astounding. Just the friends that he had, and they went on to spectacular superstardom and writing songs about him and them thinking about him and everything. He had to be, some kind of guy, for all these people to really care that much about him. I can say fuck heroin, because if Andy didn't die, Pearl Jam wouldn't exist.
Oh
So,
yeah. Okay. Good.
I blame that on heroin.
Yeah. That's a
it's-
trade I'd make any day. Pearl Jam for fucking Mother Love Bone. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
I thought it was a good album, underrated and overshadowed by all the grunge rock that came after. That just sort of got blown away by the big, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains. And I wonder what could have been if the band continued, of course. It's a lot more of a bridge between, the 80s hair metal and grunge rock. That could have been a way smoother transition than what we wound up getting.
How it was very harsh.
What happened was like a bomb dropping, and it was just black and white. Here you go, and this could have made it a lot more shades of gray. In
Nirvana's
between there.
Nevermind was literally an atom bomb that just
Yeah.
dropped on the scene onto the Sunset Strip and tore it apart.
A lot of men lost their Ferraris on that day.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
Okay,
didn't mean to
so-
interrupt you, but it was just the imagery was so perfect.
All right,
Oh, yeah.
all right, keep going, Dave.
Who's next? I'm good.
No, you didn't. Your score.
No score.
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally forgot about my score. I was yapping on and on. My score is 68. Thank you.
68 for Mother Love Bones Apple from Dave. Okay. Dylan, what is your final thought and your Watt score?
All right. So, as I've reiterated over and over again on this podcast, so forgive me for repeating myself, I am definitely of the mind that you could have cut quite a few songs from this and made it a better album. You also could have had better editing and made it a better album, better producing. But honestly, it creates this bubble of nostalgia for me, and I do love it. And some of the songs on it just immediately transport you somewhere, and that's something special. Like that's artistic and beautiful, and you have to give it its due. And like Dave said, the amount of people that did he really know the guys in Faster Pussycat? Not, maybe not, but they still wrote a song about him. Like, he had influence on people well beyond his reach. And yeah, it's you have to give that due credit. And so I don't score it quite as high as Des would probably want me to, but I'm going to give it an 87.45.
That's fair. That's fair. Dave, you don't have what I scored Junkyard there, do you?
Junkyard was 96.7 from you.
Okay, 96.7. So here's my dilemma, okay? This musically, and vocally is probably a superior album to Junkyard's Junkyard. Okay, I mean, it's just that's not an insult to Junkyard. It is. I mean, it's a very deep ocean of songwriting and playing on this album.
Well, it's apples to oranges, really.
It is apples to oranges. But I mean, this is what we do. We break down and score albums as bodies of work.
Yes.
So, okay. So with Junkyard, there's no song I would cut off that album. None. You guys forced me to cut one song off, which I did. Okay. This song has 4 or 5 songs I would cut down off it. So as a body of work, it was bloated. So is it a better album? When it's hitting, yes, it's a better album when it's hitting. But if I have to compare them next to each other, Junkyard has to be the better album because they knew what they had. It's tight, and they just went with their best. So with that being said, I said there is a 100-watt album in this album. It was a victim to being bloated. I would cut off Gentle Groove, Captain High Top, Heart Shine, and Mr. Danny Boy. You take those off, it's a 100-watt album, but they're there. So I'm going to take off 1 point for each song. And this was my dilemma. It's going to come in 1 point under Junkyard. It's going to be a 95.7. The best parts of this album are literally as good as it gets. But when you add the other parts on, it detracts from my final score and from the album. So yeah, 95.7, 1 point below Junkyard. But I want the caveat to be that I know that this is a much deeper musically. It's a much deeper album. So that's kind of where I'm at. Okay. Delynn, can you please add those scores together for us?
I have done so. With all the scores added and divided by the 3 of us, that gives us an 83.716666667.
I feel very good about that score. And Dave, can you tell us where that score lands this album on the Breaking Vinyl chart?
All right. It is... comes in at number 3, just under David Bowie's Let's Dance, and over Junkyard's self-titled album.
You know what? This is a magical day for me, okay? This is a magical day for me. And I'm going to tell you why this is a magical day for me, okay? Because in my heart of hearts, I know this is a better album than Junkyard. I know it is. But I also have to score the way I see it. So for me to be able to give Junkyard 1 point more, but for this to come out on top of Junkyard by 1 position, it's justice. Justice has been served in the rock and roll pantheon of Breaking Vinyl today. You have all witnessed pure justice. Okay. Delynn, since you will be joining us again next week, and it will be your pick. So why don't you tell us what album we will be reviewing next week?
I have picked Fleetwood Mac's Rumors.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Dave, are you familiar with this album?
I have it. I've heard it. Yep.
Okay. I haven't.
Classic.
I've heard it. Yeah, okay. I'm not trying to take that. Okay. So, yeah, we all know this album, it fucks. It slaps. I mean, it's fucking great. It's not a banger, but the songwriting on it is just like buttery chocolate. So I'll be
Yeah, well,
looking
just be
forward
glad
to.
I picked that, and then I was like, I'm gonna pick a Blondie album, and then I realized like she's got a ton of albums, and there's like 2 hits on every single one, and I was like, oh, I can't do that to myself or to them. So
So I also want to let the listeners know, because I know that there's a lot of you out there that are hair metal dudes that are my age, and you're probably like, oh, come on, guys, where is the fire? So I want you guys to know we are going to be doing, Diary of a Madman. We're going to be doing these albums. They're coming. So just,
yeah, he tried to get me to switch my choice to Diary of a Madman. I'm like, that's not happening. That's not happening. If you want me on the show, that's not happening.
Okay, so just so you guys know, we're gonna bring some metal. We're gonna bring some of these classic metal albums to you. Don't sweat it, because I see the numbers, and I know you guys love the Shout at the Devil, and yeah, so we're gonna bring it. Don't worry.
Metal up your ass.
Yeah, so guys, you can find the podcast anywhere you find quality podcasts. On Instagram, it's Breaking Vinyl _vinyl_ podcast. Twitter at BVINYLPOD. Facebook, Breaking Vinyl Podcast. Go join the group. Make sure you don't ever miss a show. I'd like to thank the listeners. Without you, the show isn't worth doing. You guys are awesome. You come in every week. I see the numbers growing. This podcast is kicking ass without us doing hardly any work to promote it, which is amazing. I'd like to also thank our 2 co-hosts for helping me break down this album. And yeah, that's it. So until next week, just remember, take those records out of the sleeve and let the music breathe. See you later.
Bye.